may feel like more than one poem, but it's fine. In the beginning. In the beginning seems like a good way to start a poem. It has a familiar ring, a vague profundity, an authoritative tone. Of course, what follows matters. In the beginning of the third inning lacks the gravitas of "in the beginning God created," which reminds me of "in the beginning was the Word," an idea poets like. That's John talking about God's Word becoming flesh. It's a trick we all keep trying to learn. But until then, I mean our words, words the way we use them, to try to make sense of ourselves and this clever universe, to keep us from feeling lonely and unknown. It's hard to talk about words using words, but what else do we have? Here we are at the end of the third inning, or the third stanza. Stanza's Italian for room. Either way, it's about time someone got up to bat or walked into the room and noticed the white lotus blossom encircled by slowly swimming orange and blue koi. Each koi a single brushstroke, practiced for years so it appears effortless. Or we could stand at the edge of a high cliff, looking down into a painted canyon, watching a paint stallion galloping with his herd along a dry creek that was once the river that created the canyon, with water, silt, and time. A vulture riding a column of warm air eyes us as it lifts above the rim, its head the color of meat. Or we can watch a gazelle being chased by an unchased lioness with cubs to feed. What happens next is up to you. This is stanza 6. On the sixth day, God created us in his own image. See what you can do. As for me, I see poetry here, truth and even beauty. But I promised my granddaughters no animals would be hurt in making this poem. Instead, I'll ask Mother Teresa to pray for them. She's standing there in the shade, fingering her rosary beads, laughing and whispering with Princess Diana. They're as real as the lion cubs, you see, waiting quietly in the shade of an acacia tree. Each a word in a poem in the world we're creating. But this poem has little to do with flowers, horses, lions, gazelles, or Mother Teresa. They're only metaphors for what the poem is about, or symbols, or straw men, or figures of speech that glide in and out of the poem like Olympic skaters, who are poets themselves, inscribing their poems on the ice, while judges wait for them to execute the required double axel and follow it with a spin, spinning faster and faster until they're a blur, bent on drilling themselves into the ice, which they would do if this were a cartoon. But it's all words, no pictures. The pictures are yours. You're the only one who knows if the skater is a man or a woman, how tall they are, the color of their hair, or whether they landed that double axel. Eventually the skater stops spinning masks her face in a practiced smile, and skates backward around the rink, gracefully acknowledging the applause of fans who toss bouquets of red roses spray-painted at an Asian bodega. The skater steps off the ice into the arms of her Russian trainer. One look, and you know she's KGB. Or perhaps she hides her true identity by looking KGB, and she's a poet who risked her life publishing Samizdat in defiance of reason and the Kremlin. She wears a silver fox coat, bears little outward resemblance to Mother Teresa, though she might be the lioness and the skater the gazelle, or be the gazelle and the apparatchik the lioness, or it's something else entirely. That's the problem with words. They can deceive as easily as inform. Truth is beauty, but lies are always dressed to kill. Well, the poem comes from seeing a woman wearing a lotus blossom kerchief with a coy border, like the one a mother wore after chemo, so thin she could have been in a photograph of a concentration camp. A photograph, because that's as close as the word can get to life. Here we find our poem's true subject, for God works in unspeakable ways, never explaining anything. Though it's said we're created in God's image and ought to be able to understand as well as children understand parents, which is better than you think. Or there's been some mistake, and we're only God's mirror image, 2D, not 3D, so we lack depth. That's the sort of poem we're writing. Complex, even confusing, but one that inevitably fails, because words can carry you only so far. The possibilities are endless, but in the end, only one possibility is lived. That's why there will always be another poem. In the beginning was the word. In the end will be a silence that speaks with an eloquence words can only